In this video, I'm going to share a top tip for 2025 to help you become more intentional about achieving your goals this year. So if you've ever kind of made your New Year's resolutions as we do at this time of the year, and by February you find that you're just not on track anymore, this tool is going to help you. It's called the one-page personal plan, and it comes from Shannon Cisco, the CEO and founder of Metronomics, and she's used it for 25 years to help her to keep focused on her personal life and align that with where she's going with her business. So welcome back to the channel. I'm Jean Moncrief. I've built and sold businesses. I now help CEOs and leadership teams to do the same thing. And on my podcast, The Freedom Experience, I interview people like Shannon, successful business owners, coaches, thought leaders, and I take their tips and their tools and I share them with you here. So today we're working on the POPP, the personal one-page plan. It's the time of the year where we're all fired up and we want to set our goals and we want to get towards those goals. But you know what happens with New Year's resolutions? First month of the year, we've fallen off the wagon by February. And I want to help you to make sure that you're not just looking at this year, but you're looking at the next few years beyond. So let's dive into it. Let's take a look at the personal one-page plan, how that can help you line yourself up for success this year and beyond. First of all, there's three big things that you need to know here. One is big goals, small steps. The personal plan helps you to think about where you want to be 10 years from now. So we're going to work on what's the big goal? Where do you want to be 10 years out? And then we're going to break that 10-year vision down into where you need to be in the next 3 years. So 3-year milestones, where you need to be in the next year, 1-year goals, and then very focused on what you want to achieve in the next 90 days. And what that does is it brings your 10-year vision into something that's manageable, breaks it down into what you need to achieve in 3 years, which you can almost reach out and kind of touch. And with this structure, you can turn huge dreams into small, achievable steps. Now, when I interviewed Rob Dubé on my podcast, he talked about how a 10-year vision almost helps to make time stand still. And it's because you become less reactive. You know where you want to be in 10 years' time, and you know what you've got to do to get there. And you've broken that big goal that you want to hit in 10 years down into small steps that you can work towards gradually. The second thing is that through consistency and consistent refocusing, which is something that the POPP or one-page personal plan brings, is that life changes and your goals should adapt. So that's why every 90 days we take another look at our POPP, at that personal one-page plan, and we make sure that we revisit the plan, that we reflect on our progress, and then we basically adjust the plan and set the new focus. So it's this kind of consistent refocusing on the plan. And that simple rhythm keeps me aligned with my long-term vision, and it helps me to stay flexible as life throws its twists and turns at me. And then finally, it's all about intentionality. So by doing this as a personal plan, you're being more intentional about where you want to go with your business as well. So you're starting to bring your business plan and your personal plan together. The two things dovetail together, and you have a plan for where you want to go ultimately personally, and then you start looking at how your business is supporting that plan. So 3 big things there. Number 1, big goals, small steps. Number 2, consistent refocusing. And number 3, intentionality. And with that, let's dive into the plan. And I'm going to take you through an example. Now, you can download copies of this below on the YouTube channel or on my website. And there's 2 different ways that you can grab a copy of this. First of all, you can take a copy like that I've got here, which is a fillable copy, or you can take, actually, they're both fillable. One you're going to just print out and write on, or use the iPad as I'm doing. The other one you can type into. But then what I suggest you do afterwards is that you print it out and you stick it somewhere that you can see it. So let's dive into it. Personal one-page plan, as I said, comes from Metronomics, from Shannon Cisco. So you want to start up at the top right here, put your name in and the date. So I'm going to just put my name in there, Jean Moncrief. And the second thing is the date that I've put this plan together. So I actually did mine on about the 5th of January. So I'm going to stick to that up there, 5th of Jan, 2025. We're there already. halfway through this decade. Okay, next thing. What are your core values? So we're really going to a level where we're talking about the values that guide you in your life as well, that help you to make your decisions, the filter through which you make your decisions. So for me, my core values, there's basically 4 big values. And I would suggest that you look to 3 to 5 to fill in here. But my top 4 or top 3, let's say, are number 1, freedom. And you'll see pattern in what I do in that freedom keeps coming through. It's a core value that goes back to my childhood, growing up in America. My parents' license plate numbers on their cars had live free or die, which was the kind of the state motto for New Hampshire. And at that time, growing up in the US in the late 70s, early 80s, there was this feeling of freedom. And I think it had a very deep impact on me. It became part of my DNA, so to speak. So the second thing is adventure. I love travel. I love working with different clients all over the world, learning about different cultures. And that's one of my core values. Curiosity, this kind of thirst to learn new things about people, places, clients. And then finally, creativity. Like, how can I think out of the box when I'm working with people and things that I do in my life in general. So creativity. So what are your core values? 3 to 5, fill them in. Next thing, core purpose. And you might need to think deeply about this. It took me a while to really distill my core purpose down. And in fact, it's my core purpose and the core purpose for my business as well. I'm a small coaching business, but you might find that your business core purpose is slightly different to your personal core purpose. No problem. Think about what your core purpose is. For me, it's creating entrepreneurial freedom. So again, you can see that theme of freedom coming through, but creating entrepreneurial freedom. So when I started out, I grew a group of businesses, scaled them up, and was on that revenue, overly focused on just growing revenue. So 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, and then acquiring businesses to bulk up that revenue. And what I lost sight of was building value in the business. So when I came to sell the business, I realized that it wasn't as valuable as I thought. And I think it had a really big impact on me that tied back into that freedom thing. I had to go back and do a whole lot of work to make the business more valuable. So this idea of freedom and creating entrepreneurial freedom and entrepreneurship all come together in that way that I help business owners now to make sure that they're creating freedom and not just growing a business for the sake of growing a business, that it's done in an intentional way. And this personal plan plays into that. Okay, so you've got your core values, you've got your core purpose. Great. You may need to take some time to think about these, and they may evolve over time. And that's why we keep coming back and we keep visiting this, because your core values and your core purpose and your 10-year goal may well kind of keep evolving over time. Key thing, you have a plan and you know where you're going. Okay, so 10-year personal goal, basically write down one sentence where you want to be in 10 years. Now, for me, I travel a lot. I've been all over the world. My partner works, it sort of takes us to different countries because of her job. But ultimately, what's really important to me is that one day I can wake up every day and ask myself, what would I like to do today? And that I have that freedom to decide what I want to do. So my business is able to run by itself, can thrive by itself. I've got a small team where the business can keep running without me being involved in every day. And I can wake up on some days and think, hey, what would I like to do today? So for me, that's really the 10-year personal goal. So I'm going to put that in here and say 10-year personal goal is I can wake up every day and ask, I can wake up every day and ask. And the thing is to keep this to one sentence, keep it concise. There's very little space, so you've got to be careful. Let's just change that and ask, what would I like to do today? Then I'll go to. So think about your 10-year vision. Think about, it might be living in a certain place, certain house, certain amount of wealth, whatever it is. Think about what that 10-year vision is and where you'd like to be 10 years from now, what the dream is, what that big goal is, your big, hairy, audacious goal. And this goes back to what Rob Dubé was talking about. If you want to listen to that episode, it'll be in the show notes or in the notes. But he talked about how 10-year thinking helps to put you in a position where time kind of slows down or stands still. You're not reactive anymore. You can make decisions and adjust just your strategy, your journey to get to where you want to go. So the next thing is, where do you want to be in 3 years? And again, write down in one sentence where you want to be in 3 years. So we're trying to keep it concise. We're trying to keep it focused. Think about this a little bit more. And for me, I want to live in my own home. We move a lot with space for family, friends, a garden, a library. I love books. You can't really see them behind me, but there's a stack of books behind me. And I want a studio office that's well set up where I can run my global coaching business. So for me, if I had to put that in here, my three-year highly achievable goal is I own my own, I live in my own home. Just put it that way. So I live in my own home with space for family and friends, really important to where I'm thinking about going now. As you get older, I think it's become more important to have that deep kind of bond with friends, spend more time with family as the children get older, with family and friends, garden. We like growing tomatoes. What is that? Garden, a library, and home studio office. Home studio for my coaching. Business. Yeah. So I did say there's a fillable version of this. You can download it. Hopefully you get the point more than my scribbles, but download a copy and fill it in yourself. Okay, so you've got you know where you want to be in the next 3 years, and you've got clarity around that. And we're going to break that down into key areas of focus. So, if you think about those key areas of focus for me in terms of getting where I want to go right now, again, this is keeping things very concise. So from a finance perspective, maybe that for me means that I want to have 2 million plus, that my coaching business is generating 2 million plus in revenue. Family, have 150 non-work days a year. So I'm getting pretty specific now. And I want to use part of those non-work days to spend time with family. So you'd be surprised how quickly 150 work days kind of add up. You got your weekends straight away, and then the normal holidays and all that before you know it, 150 non-work days. The next thing is fitness. At the moment, I do a lot of running, but in 3 years' time, I want to combine fitness and fun and do more quarterly adventures. So when I was younger, I would train and travel. I would do Krav Maga in Israel or train in South Korea, doing or Thailand, doing Muay Thai. And I would travel around the world and do different martial arts and live in the locations with folks and the trainers. And basically that was a great adventure and combined the fitness into it, and I learned about cultures. So I want to go back to doing some of that stuff, which was really, really fun and kept me fit, and I really enjoyed doing it. The next big F on the 5 key areas of focus, or those 5 Fs, and you can adjust these if you like I think of fitness and fun. But the next one is friends. And for me, it's 10 deep friendships. So starting to work towards having 10 deep friendships over the next 3 years. So making sure that I'm investing time with those friends, spending time with them, perhaps doing some of those quarterly adventures with them. And then finally, faith. For you, it could be spirituality, it could be faith, but that's, for me, daily meditation. Really working on that daily meditation practice, and possibly quiet contemplation. Just spending 20 minutes a day in quiet contemplation, thinking, and reflecting. So that's what my 3-year plan looks like. I live in my own home, a lot less moving around and traveling in rented spaces. Have space for family and friends, a garden, a library, a studio where I can run my global coaching business, so I can do a lot of it virtually. I'm generating more than 2 million in revenue in that business. I have 150 non-work days to spend with family. I'm doing quarterly adventures with friends and really cultivating those 10 deep friendships. And my day consists of daily meditation and quiet contemplation. So that's my 3-year plan. It lines up with where I want to go 10 years personally and fits into my core values and my core purpose. The next one is this year. What are we trying to achieve this year? So this comes down to what you're doing with your with your New Year's resolutions. So again, write down in one sentence where you want to be in this year. So if I go back to the pen there and I put that in, it's that my coaching business is thriving and I can live anywhere in the world I choose, and I'm seen as a key person of influence in the business team coaching space. So recently I've dropped off doing a lot of the marketing work that I used to do. So I used to help brands to go-to-market strategies, move into different geographic regions and all that kind of stuff. And I'm cutting that down and I'm focusing solely on business team coaching. So for me, this could look something like basically to be recognized as a leading business team coach, with a thriving practice, practice. That's really badly spelled to me. Just with a thriving business serving clients globally. Let's go with it. Something like that. So in one sentence, I'm summing up that where I want to be is to have a thriving business team coaching practice where I'm recognized internationally as a top business team coach. Now, my 1-year goal and part of my 3-year goal align very closely with my business, because my business is really what I do and very close to my core purpose. Yours might be different. You might have very different personal goals, and I really want to push you to think about your personal goals. If you've got a big business with 40 odd people, and you have a plan for that business, and you have your 3-year goal, your 10-year goal, and you're working on your 1-year goal for the business, which may be that you're sort of building a business over the next year where all your systems and processes and everything are firing on all cylinders, and you've got your foundation layer, and that's great. Think about what you want to achieve personally in the next year. So maybe you're on a 3-year kind of move toward exiting your business or transitioning your business. Your 3-year goal might be that the company's 30% employee owned on the business side, and on the personal side, it might be that 3 years from now, you have a lot more time to do the things that you want to do, because inside the business, you're looking at that transitioning 30% to employee ownership, and employees are running the business and a lot more. So try and keep these separate, but you want to think about how you're aligning them. And it's all about intentionality. Okay, so key areas of focus for me over here is finance. Let's say want to take the business to over 500,000. Sorry, personally want to be generating over 500,000. Obviously, that again ties into my business. But as a owner or CEO of a business, you may want to be taking disbursements of 400K a year or something like that, or shifting to, instead of drawing a salary, taking a disbursement rather than a salary. So financially, what does that look like? Family, for me, August family adventure. For the last few years, we've been doing this getaway where the kids and I do something really great and fun. So I want to keep that family adventure going. There's still other times that we get together and do things, but as they grow and as they drift apart, I want to keep this August family adventure top of the list. The adventure, Europe. Fitness, I want to run 2 marathons this year. And friends, fully present. We have all these devices and kind of go out for dinner and you end up sitting, scrolling through things on your phone, and that I want to get rid of the phone, and every time I'm just doing something with friends, be fully present in that moment with them. So this year, it's all about being fully present. And then finally, faith, I'm going to stick with daily meditation and contemplation. Okay, so here we go. Fix that up. Just recognizing some of the things. So you have your 1-year goal there. For me, as I said, my coaching business is thriving and I can live anywhere in the world I want to. I'm recognized as a key person of influence in business team coaching. So from the finance perspective, that business or that coaching practice is doing over 500,000 in revenue. I've got the full August off where I'm doing an adventure with my kids and my partner. I'm running 2 marathons this year. I'm fully present in interactions with my friends. And from a faith spirituality perspective, I'm doing a daily meditation or contemplation. And those are those kind of 5 F's there for my key areas of focus. And then finally, we need to bring this down to what's going to be done in the next 90 days. So, number one, for me personally, I need to take the Finding Freedom book that I'm working on. And again, you see that freedom coming through. Get the Finding Freedom manuscript, or make sure that is ready and gone off to be published. So the what is Finding Freedom manuscript. So Finding Freedom manuscript is ready to go to publishing. Actually, let's change that slightly, is with publisher. And that's 31st of March. Okay, number 2 for me is to run a half marathon. So this quarter, if I'm going to do 2 marathons this year, I want to run a half marathon. And I want to do that by, let's say, the 28th of February. So at the time that I wrote this, I was running 14Ks odd with my daughter. At the time that I wrote my first plan, I was running about 14Ks with my daughter. As of yesterday, I was at 18. I'm 3 shy of half. Whether that half is actually an organized marathon or just running half marathon, capable of half marathon, that's my 90-day goal. Number 3, and I'd suggest you keep these no more than 3 to 5 priorities. If you've got more than 3 priorities, you typically don't have any priorities at all, so be very careful with this. So number 3 for me is basically to professionalize my podcast. Let's just zoom in here a bit. Professionalize my podcast in line with the goal that I've got over 100,000 downloads for 2025. 100K, 2025. Okay, and I want to get that done this quarter. Whoops, let's just roll that a bit better. It's the 31st of March. And basically, if I want to get that done this quarter, the whole focus on professionalizing the podcast is in terms of my curiosity and learning. It fits into my personal plan because I get to interview these fantastic people on my podcast and learn from them and then share that with everybody here. And then finally, I think, if there was a fourth one here, it would just be about booking. So get it booked. And what I mean by that is, like, for me to basically make sure that if I'm going to run the Istanbul Marathon and the Nice in the Forest Marathon, just get those 2 marathons booked, get it out of the way. If I'm going to do an August family adventure, get that done, get it booked now, and it's all sorted and done. So, if there was a fourth one there for me, it would just be like get everything booked and make sure that everything's booked and done by, whoops, wrong one, 31 March. Cool. Okay. So I hope that this has helped you to kind of think about how to get to your goal, your long-term goal, not just what you're thinking about in terms of a New Year's resolution, like I'm going to give up drinking or be more healthy or whatever those New Year's resolutions typically are, or I'm going to get fit, but to think about where you want to be in the next 10 years. So take the time to contemplate and think about, where do I want to be in the next 10 years? And then step it backwards. What does that mean in terms of where I need to be in the next 3 years? Where does that mean in terms of where I need to be in the next year? Make 25 the year of intentional action. So you've got your POPP or your personal one-page plan. You have, if you work with me as a coach, you'll be working on your overall plan, your one-page plan for your business, and you'll be working on your 3 highly achievable goals for your business. And these things at some stage will kind of dovetail together. But what it forces you to do is to take charge of your personal growth this year. So download the personal one-page plan. There's a fillable version and a scribblable version. And if you found this helpful, then subscribe for more tips like this. And let's make this the best year yet. See you in the next video.